Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be showing you some of the exercises that we would do before going on stage and performing and throwing ourselves around like wild. So it's similar to what we usually teach, the rotational movements that Teo Sempo taught us, which are called charana, but we'll also be incorporating those movements into different traditional hatha yoga movements. Most of us are familiar with these hatha yoga movements through Western style yoga classes here in the US. But if anyone has any questions, by all means, feel free to type in or send us a message. So today we will be starting laying down on our backs. And you can lay down on your back with something under your shoulders if you like, or a block or a blanket under your shoulders. You can have your feet out wide to the side, or your knees out wide to the side like this, with the soles of the feet together if you like. Or you can have the soles of the feet flat on the mat, knees knocking in like this. Either way, hands can be down by your sides or resting on your belly. We'll just catch our breath a little bit here, inhaling deeply. Possibly feeling the belly rise, and exhaling completely, feeling the belly fall back down again. Ooh, I think I'll make this one speaker. Hello and welcome. All right, welcome. So let me pin my video. There we go. Okay, great. So as we lay here, just come to your body, no matter how you've been spending your time before this yoga practice. Allow yourself to return to the physicality of it all, whether it's noticing your breathing, noticing if there are any points of tension in the body that you'd like to focus on or be careful about today in practice. Just take note. And then from wherever you are, feel free to straighten your legs out long, straighten your arms long above the head. Get a nice stretch. And then we're going to draw our knees in towards our chest. And put your hands around your knees. We'll rock a little bit side to side. And then from here, we'll get right into our rotational movements as a part of our practice. At this point, we'll have a little bit of core practice because we're lying down and it seems like the right idea. So let's take our knees so that they're right above our hips and our shins are parallel to the ground in this sort of double right angle position here. Drawing the knees together as much as is comfortable, you can start to rotate the feet, drawing little circles with the toes. So we're starting by warming up the ankles here, starting from the foundation. And the more you hold your feet and knees together as you do this, the more you'll feel this movement in the rectus abdominis. That's the core muscles of the middle of the belly. You can put your hands there if you want. You might feel a little hill or ridge through the middle of the torso. That's your rectus abdominis. That's your six-pack, so to speak. Although some of us might have a two-pack or a one-pack. That's fine. So when you're ready, we'll switch directions. Taking those little circles the other way, maybe feeling a little bit more heat in the belly, a little bit more heat in the core as you do this. It's a subtle movement, but it is powerful. And then we'll draw the knees back in, and again, rock side to side. You want to do some knee rotations? Okay. Yeah.
So coming back to that same position, shins parallel to the floor, bringing the knees together. Now we're going to take the whole thing, take our feet and make it like we're drawing a circle on the wall. But try keeping the knees together if you can. And again, you might feel this in your abdomen as well as in the legs. Just drawing a circle on the wall and then switch the direction, draw it in the opposite direction. And then once again, let's put the knees into the chest. rock a little bit side to side.
And at this point, if you'd like, I'm actually going to start rocking up and down my mat a little bit. So I'm rocking back and forth. And then eventually that rocking is just going to bring me right up to seated here, like this. I'm going to take my legs to the side and come into hands and knees position. So before we get into our spinal stuff and our cat-cows and everything, let's start off with a little bit of, what do I call this, like a hip rotation, except we won't be rotating from hips. So I'm going to turn a little bit to the diagonal so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take my leg up and just start drawing little circles with my knee just in the air here. And you can really explore space with these circles. So first going in one direction, and then when you're ready, switch directions, take the circles the other way. So this is familiar movements probably for you, but in a different modality, a different shape in the body. So it might feel more strenuous or less strenuous or more powerful or whatever you like. From here, let's come back to hands and knees. I'll take one leg straight out, the one that I was just rotating. Sorry, I'm totally hiding Brian. And I'm just going to stretch it long behind me. And then if I can stretch, so for me, that's my right leg. So I'm going to take my left arm forward, stretching long, and then I'm going to reach back for the right ankle, test my balance just for a second here. So really lifting back. And then you can let go, reaching out long again. And then bringing that right knee back to meet the left. So now we'll do the same thing on the other side. So taking that left leg and drawing little circles from tabletop here. First going in one direction, exploring space as best you can, possibly feeling this in different muscles than you usually feel this in, because we're doing it from hands and knees. And then when you're ready, we'll switch directions, going the other way. And then when you're ready, we'll just stretch that left leg straight back. Sorry, Brian, we'll play footsie as we do this. And then if your left leg is going straight back, your right arm is going to reach forward. Ooh! And then keeping your balance, we'll reach back to that left ankle. So getting a nice opening on the psoas muscle in the front of the left leg at the very beginning here. You know you're in for a treat when we're opening up the psoas right at the beginning. And then when you're ready, we'll stretch out the leg long, stretch the arm long, come back to hands and knees. If you need to take a second in child's pose, just sit your hips back to your heels, stretching the arms out long in front of you. And as you inhale here in child's pose, really feel the pelvic floor open up at the beginning of the inhale. It should be pretty easy to feel because of the way that we're sitting.
So you can inhale back to tabletop position, and we'll just start to get some movement into the spine with some cat and cows. As you inhale, raise the tailbone, drop the belly, raise the head. As we exhale slowly, let's drop the tailbone, round the spine, drop the head. So just going back and forth slowly, inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Then we're going to get a circular motion into the spine. So the next time you inhale into cow, we're going to exhale and round off to one side, coming into cat, and then continuing rounding as we inhale, coming back into cow. So now we're making this circular motion with the spine. It's as if you can imagine your torso is inside of a barrel and you're trying to rub it around every inch of the circumference, the inner circumference of that barrel. You can just let the head relax, or you can let it kind of move with the spine if you like.
Honestly, if you do let the head move with the spine, just be very careful to keep your neck long here. This is a great position to get a good neck roll in. But just make sure to keep it gentle as you do it to warm up the neck.
And then when you're ready, switch the direction that you're making that circle with the spine.
And at this point, let's tuck the toes here, and we're gonna get into the hard stuff. Sort of. I don't know. Maybe it's not hard for you. It's just hard for me. So, tucking, let's see. Brian will be able to show this. You'll be able to see what he's doing. Tucking the toes here in hands and knees. We're gonna lift the knees just an inch or two off the mat and try to keep your spine long as you do this. You'll feel your core engaging. So just breathe here for a second, feeling the body wake up if it isn't already. And then we'll lift the hips all the way, coming back into a downward facing dog. From here in your downward facing dog, feel free to pedal one heel down, then the other, maybe bending one elbow and then the other. The opposite elbow bends to the knee that bends. And then we're all just gonna snake our way forward into high plank. Now it's up to you here. You can either be in high plank with the knees up, or you can let the knees come to the mat and be in half plank. That's fine too. Wherever you are in your high plank, let's do some hip rolls. So what does this look like? I'm drawing a big circle with my hips while I'm in a high plank. It doesn't have to be a really huge circle. It could just be little circles, or if your knees are down, little circles. I'll show from the side with my knees down like that. But we're starting to warm up the low back here. And then, when you're ready, switch directions. So start taking those big circles or little circles the other way. Again, we're engaging our core here as we do this. And breathing deep.
Yes, keep breathing. Don't hold your breath.
And then when you're ready, we'll just bring our hips back to downward facing dog, and we'll actually get a little bit of skeletal shaking in this posture. This is always a hit to just bounce a little bit as we're in downward facing dog, keeping it loose and playful. I've got a mirror right behind me, so I'm getting a really wonderful show. So from this point, let's take the right leg up, keeping the hips even here if possible. Bend the right knee, bring it in towards the chest, and step the right foot in between the hands here. And from here, we'll wake up our wrists. So in a low lunge here, fingertips just on the ground, we're actually gonna come up. Let's fold the thumbs into the palms, wrap the fingers around the thumbs, keep the arms down by your side, and start rotating the wrists. As you inhale, draw the arms up long in front of you, and then take them out to the side, wide.
Oh no.
Oh no. Hopefully you don't have an inconveniently placed wall. And then when they get down by your sides, switch directions, taking the arms out wide to the side again. This time, exhale forward as the arms come up towards the center. Let them come all the way down. You can plant the hands on either side of the foot. And let's get another side stretch here. So let's bend that left knee, bring it down to the mat, or Anjaneyasana, or a crescent moon. You can either keep your hands on the ground or on blocks,
burping completely. The yoga's working. And then hands can come back to the ground. If your left knee is down, you can lift it. You can lift your right foot, bring it back to meet the left, hang out here in the high plank again. If you want to do some hip rolls here, take them, that's fine. Just make sure to if you do a few in one direction, switch directions and go the other way. And then we'll come back to downward facing dog again, pedaling the feet or bouncing, your choice. And then at this point, let's take the left leg up, keeping the hips even here. Inhale, drawing the left leg in towards the chest. Exhale, step it forward. From here, we'll just inhale up to this high lunge. Arms come out into a T. Same thing with the hands, thumbs fold in, forefingers fold around thumbs. This time, we'll rotate what looks like from the elbows. So drawing these little windmills. First in one direction, then the other, switching directions. Take this at your pace. You can tell it's tough for me, I'm losing my breath. And maybe I'll turn pink too if we're lucky. So then, from here, we'll just come back forward again, reach, 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 and then plant the hands. At this point, let's bring that right knee down to the mat. You can always pad under the right knee if you like. Asana on this side, crescent moon. So hands can be down, hands can be at the knee, or hands can be above the head, arching back. Make sure to keep that front foot, which in this case is our left foot, so that it's right below the knee or a little bit in front of it. You don't want behind the knee and you don't want to be bending deep into it because you'll pop your kneecap off. Not really. But it's not that good for your knees to smash them like that. So when you're ready, hands come back to the mat. This time, let's just lift the right knee, step the right foot forward to meet the left, and hang out here in a forward fold for a minute. How do you feel about teaching balancing and twisting?
Great. Balance.
Shaking.
Bounce.
Yeah, standing up and shaking. So feel free to sway side to side. You can grab opposite elbows. You can hold behind the legs and draw the torso towards the legs if you like. We're just getting a nice forward fold here. You can walk your fingers forward on the ground if you want. Knees can be bent if you like. And walk your fingers back. Knees can still be bent. And then find that place that's kind of in the middle where you have just as much pressure on the back of your feet as on the front. And from here, we'll just bounce our way back to standing. So feel free to shake your way up. And then Brian's going to tell us all about bouncing and twisting.
So we're just going to bounce.
So I can catch my breath.
Feel free to just shake and bounce, however you like to do it.
Shake and bounce.
But if you're feeling kind of lethargic and you need more energy, you can feel free to sort of hop or like jump, kind of more like this. If you're feeling too up in your head and you need grounding, step the feet out wide and shake like this. If you're shaking everything off of you, down into the earth, grounding into the earth. And then we're going to start just sort of twisting. So you can twist and shake at the same time, or if that's too much like, you know, patting your head and rubbing your belly, which is one of those things you just have a really hard time with, you can just twist and not shake. Eventually, we're just going to come to twisting and not shaking anyway. So when you're ready, you can let that shaking just sort of taper off as we just come into just a twist from side to side. Try to let the hips stay forward. So, stay forward. So we're twisting from the upper body. We're not, you know, twisting our lower body.
That's one option, I suppose. But let's.
That is an option. option, but that's not what we're gonna do.
If you want maximum digestive awesomeness, which is very important for touring musicians, then you want to keep the twist above the waist.
One yoga class I used to go to, they always used to say, imagine you have 2 headlights on your hips, and you're trying to just keep those pointing straight ahead, even though your upper body's twisting side to side. And then we're going to add in a breathing exercise to this. So you can take your elbows back, take your palms out flat, like you're skimming water at chest height. And we're going to add a breathing exercise into this. We're going to inhale as we twist to the right and exhale with a shh as we twist to the left.
What's great about this movement is that you can kind of use the momentum of the twist to your advantage. I mean, obviously don't throw your back out or anything, but allow the arms to really glide you from side to side here. That might actually mean lifting your elbows a little bit so they're on the level of your shoulders.
Continuing that twisting and that breathing, let's take the arms, take the forearms and turn them up like goalposts. You can have the palms facing at towards your head. Try to keep shoulders relaxing down, so we're not like this. We're down like this. Nice open chest.
And the spine is long here too. Easy to sit in our hips in these twists, but we want to be working the energy upwards with this.
Now we're going to take our arms out and down at about waist height. So like this, like we have a hula hoop in our hands, and we're not using our hips. We're just taking our hands and just turning it side to side at about waist height. And continuing the breathing. Ah, so good.
Sure, no, let's just do this for now, right?
No.
All right, well then, let's allow ourselves to bounce our way out of that twist.
Yeah, just bounce and kick your way out of it.
Exactly, because the one thing is, if we're building, yes, you can take one leg and kick it out to the side and the other. If we're building strength through all these layered practices, then it's very helpful to bounce, because the bouncing will help take away any tension in the muscles. I mean, yes, maybe it'll come back later, go take a bath, that type of thing. But in the meantime, keeping it loose and non-rigid is extremely helpful. The organs love it. So from here, we're just gonna do a little shoulder blade seesawing. So I'm gonna reach down with one arm and then down with the other. And take this at your pace. You can go slow, like this, or you can go fast, like that. But what we're doing is we're getting a very gentle massage for the internal organs and body cavity here as they slide past each other. Makes me belch, which means it's working. And we can start to slow this movement down, bring it to stillness, maybe palms facing out if you like. Standing here, mountain for a second. Let's do the same kind of movement with our head. So taking our head from one side to the other. One ear comes towards one shoulder, the other ear comes towards the other, like this. Again, take this slow and gentle. It's very easy to injure the neck, especially if you whip your head around while you're rocking out on stage. So don't ask me how I know. So because of that, you really want to be careful here as you work with the neck. These are strong, but also sensitive and delicate muscles like the Brahmikai. And then from here, let's take the hands to the hips, take the feet about mat's width distance, maybe slightly narrower, and we'll bring one hip forward and back, and then the other hip comes back. So we're doing figure eights with our hips now. We're gonna get a twofer at this point. So starting with just the hips, then if you wanna do a backstroke, go for it. Swim through the air. This is one that if you're doing this warm up in a club before you're about to play a rock and roll show, people might think you're dancing. So you get somewhat less weird looks from this one. as you would from, say, something that looks like this. That's another neck exercise we'll save for another day. So just backstroking through the air. And as you do this, the subtle element of this practice is feeling the air go by your body as you do this. If you're wearing short sleeves, for example, see if you can feel air go by the hairs on your arm. And then when you're ready, we'll shake it all off again. Grounding, and we'll do it the other way. So this time, hands come to the hips again. I'm gonna bring one hip forward from the back, and then I'll bring the other hip forward. So it's a somewhat less natural figurating of the hips, for me at least, but it becomes a heck of a lot more natural when I start doing the breaststroke, or the crawl, or whatever this is called. One day I will learn about swimming, maybe when they open up the new rec center with the indoor pool. Could happen very soon. So just swimming forwards. Another movement that will bring you no umbrage in a rock club. What do we do next? I think something like spider stretches or chopping wood, sumo twists. Anything else? So when you're ready, we'll shake it off again. You want to do that?
At some point.
Let's take our arms out to the side in a T shape, and we'll do swaying palm tree. So let's inhale here with, actually no, chill out for a second, and then inhale to the side. Exhale, come back to standing. Inhale to the other side. Exhale, come back to standing. Now you can continue like that, or if you want to make things very epic, you can take the legs quite wide, come into goddess. So to show you from the sky, my goddess doesn't look like this, it looks like that. So my knees are open here, same thing. Inhale to one side, exhale, inhale, exhale. So we'll just continue like this for a second. You may be feeling this in your quads, in which case, if it's really intense, you can straighten your legs as you do this. That's fine too. Or you can stay down in your squat, keeping the spine as long as is comfortable.
And then we'll come back to center. Let's just straighten the legs for a second, maybe even step it out for a second and shake out the hips. But we're going to come right back to that position with the legs spread very wide, sort of in this, like a goddess posture, at least in the lower half of the body. We're going to bring the hands just above the knees on the insides of the thighs. And then try to tuck that tailbone so your back feels like it's nice and long and straight, not curving at all. And relax your shoulders down, nice long neck here. We're going to inhale. Exhale, press into one thigh, twisting the body to one side. Inhale, back through center. Press into the other thigh, twist to the other side. So just going back and forth like this. Inhaling as we come through center. Exhaling as you twist. And then you can come back to center. Let's let the upper body hang down. You can turn the feet in so that they're facing more like straight forward. And we're gonna interlace the hands here.
This is a great idea. Brian's gonna chop some wood.
So we're gonna inhale, coming up. Maybe the hips come forward a little bit. Exhale with a ha as you come down. So just inhaling as you come up. Exhaling as you go down, take it at your own pace. Go slow if you need to. Next time you come down, let's hang out, hang down there.
Oh, it's the
You can
best.
bend the knees a little bit. You can even straighten one leg and straighten the other. Just kind of let it hang loose. Maybe shake the head yes and no. Just encourage the upper body to hang down. And then
Have you got a plan for what's next? Because if you don't,
go for it.
always got a plan. So from here, walk your hands forward just a little bit, and then let's toe heel the feet closer together here. Not all the way to hips width distance, but maybe about mat width distance. And then let's just bend the knees coming into a squat. If you like to put a block under your tail here and squat, go for it. But the main thing with your squat, it doesn't matter if you sit on a block or your toes are up like this, although it's much easier to have the feet grounded. So if your toes or your heels are up, then let the feet come a little wider if need be. But just keep the spine nice and long here. That's the secret. The heart is open. I'm not punching into my little squat, but I'm really shining my chest open here. And this is where you can get off the train if you like. If you wish to go further on the train, I'm going to use the edge of Brian's mat for this. We're going to come into crow. So I'm lifting my hips, coming up onto my toes now. My hands are grounded here. And I'm going to take my knees towards my armpits. Now the thing is, you'll notice I bring my knees to my armpits, but then when I come forward, they slide down the back of my upper arms a little bit. That's okay. If you have a crow practice, feel free to come on up into it. If you don't, just hang out here with the toes on the mat and the hands on the mat and the knees supported by the back of the elbows as close to the armpits as you can. You can lift up one foot and maybe the other. Lengthen through the spine, start to straighten the arms. That's great. So this might be where you get off on the train. If you want to go further, sorry Brian, I'm totally stealing your mat for this. If you want to go further and you feel confident in your headstand, tuck your chin, let the crown of the head come to the mat. Here you are in your egg shape. And you can put the feet down for a second, readjust the position of the hands, then bring the knees back to the back of the arms, fold the feet up towards the hips, lift the knees off of the back of the arms. Here you are in your half headstand. And then straighten the legs. This is great to do against the wall if you're still practicing. But I'm still practicing too. So we'll hang out here for a second. If this is too much, feel free to come down to child's pose, or you can hang out and squat, or you can work on your crow. And then when you're ready, if you're in headstand, bend your knees, pointing the knees up at the ceiling, feet come back by the hips. Then bend at the hips, drawing the knees in towards the chest. Let them fall on the back of the arms again. So here we are in our egg, and if you want to try to come back up in the crow, you lean your hips back, put the weight on the heels of the hands, lift the head, and then you would slowly come into crow from here, and then come back into your yoga squat, and then all of us, no matter what you did, let's come right into child's pose and catch our breath for a minute. So grounding, really keeping the hips working towards the heels. And we have a couple options with child's pose. If you're one of those people who likes to take the knees very wide and then come forward like this, lengthening out through the spine like this, that's great. But if you're someone like me who has a hyper flexible low back and it's very easy to get low back pain, keep your knees together and really focus on, so I'll show from the side, I'm rounding the back here. I can even use my hands to press into the ground to take my hips back like this. So in other words, to show you from the side, knees open, There's more of that arch in my low back here, which doesn't really do me any favors, unfortunately, but it might do you some favors if you have a tight low back. But if you have a hyperflexible low back, round the spine, round the low back, tuck the tail here. So just catching our breath. And if you find yourself in a headstand in a rock and roll club, that's when people really are like, what am I in for with this performance? So feel free to come back up to seated. All right, oh, it's great, we still have 23 minutes. Feel free to come back up to seated, and then we're gonna do a whole smorgasbord of hip openers. I'm hoping to teach you all mermaid today, because it's such a pretty one. This is the type of thing you can get away with in any club, because nobody sees you sitting on the floor. And nobody envies you either. So let's start off with staff posture. You wanna staff us good?
Yeah, so we're gonna come into this kind of L-shaped position. Legs are together, feet are activated like you're standing on the wall, and the upper body is activated. So the upper body's not just slumping into this, but it's actually sitting up nice and tall as well. Nice long spine, nice relaxed shoulders, chest open.
If you have a strap, in my case a sweater folded in half, a belt, a piece of rope, whatever you like, that might be helpful for you, particularly if you have tight hamstrings like me. Because as you can see, when I come forward, it's really easy for me to round my upper back like this and get a little hunchback, and that's not really what I'm aiming for here.
One other thing let's do, just so we have this nice base on the floor, we're really grounding into the floor, is you can actually grab each thigh and just kind of pull it up so that your hips are opening more, your sits bones are widening. So you got this nice, base to ground into.
Take the outside open.
And then when we come forward, we're just gonna come forward from the middle of the body with a straight back. So if your forward fold starts here and only goes to here, that's fine. The idea is we don't want to do this because we're trying to reach our feet, so we're bending over and we're rounding the back. But we want to keep the back nice and straight. So we're going to inhale, arms up overhead, with or without your strap. We plug those shoulders in on the back. So it's like you're actually trying to squeeze them together so the heart comes forward. So we're not doing this, but we're doing this with a nice open heart. And then exhale, come forward with that straight back. Once you get to the point where the back doesn't want to stay straight anymore, we're going to stop at that point and then bring the arms down. If you have a strap, you can take it like in around the balls of the feet.
Maybe another little strap 101. If you're using a strap, no need to have your hands way up here to get that lumpy back. Instead, bring the arms long and then bend from the elbows.
Yeah, and if you're just happen to be able to come forward without rounding the back and grab the toes, that's fine. But if you can't, doesn't matter where they are. If you don't have a strap, you can, sometimes I'll just grab onto the ankles or even just the floor. Another thing I like to do, each inhale, I sort of like come a little bit out of the posture, reestablish it, make sure my back is straight, my shoulders are, pressing towards each other in the back. I got a nice open heart. And then with each exhale, I might find that I find a little more redundancy in my speech. No, a little more folding from the a little more, of the folding, hinging at the hip, like I'm looking for.
Another option, obviously, too, is you can slightly bend the knees.
Yes.
That will give you that extra oomph if you're feeling like you really just got to bring that belly to the thighs, which does feel really cool. So.
And you might find you can come a little more forward with a straight back if you put a little bend in those knees. And if you have legs that, you have joints that hyperextend or lock or whatever, then it's very good too to keep it from doing that, because you don't want to do that kind of thing.
Or you'll pop your legs off. Not really.
You'll have to walk out of yoga class on your hands. Go looking for your legs.
But yoga will teach you that. When you're ready, we'll come back up. Let's bend the right knee and bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left leg. So I'll show you from the front. Oh, all right, I'll show you.
Oh, no, I'm gonna turn. You show me.
All right, we're
I'm just gonna turn so that I
over.
can. I don't know why I turned it.
For fun.
That's on so much ball there.
This is a very similar stretch to the last one, so we'll be a lot more concise. So here, if you're using a strap, inhale the arms up above the head, holding the strap. If you're not using a strap, just inhale the arms up. Exhale, folding forward, loop the strap around the foot, and same thing. Bend the elbows if you're using a strap. Don't straighten the arms and come forward that way, but really bend the elbows and bring them back towards your side body. This might be slightly easier for you to come forward with a nice long back. If that's the case, just remember to keep your chin tucked so this neck stays long here too, so I'm not coming down like that. But I actually have a nice long cervical spine as well as the thoracic and lumbar spine. And I'm kind of aiming over my left knee here. In younger days, I used to be able to kiss my left knee here. Maybe I still can. And then when you're ready, we'll come up and we're actually going to get into mermaid from here. I love this posture and I've been seeing it more and more in all the classes I'm taking. So from here, I'm going to put my hands behind me, leaning back, and bending my left knee, and then taking that left foot kind of to my side and bringing the left knee down. So the sole of my right foot is still resting on the inside of my left thigh, but as you see here, the left knee and the left calf are sort of tucked up against the left thigh as well, and the sole of my left foot is facing up behind me. You can either keep the legs like this, or if you have half lotus practice, you can take that right foot into half lotus. So that means tucking that top part of the right foot into the left hip crease. From here, how does this work? Like that.
Turn this way. We're turning to the right.
Yes. So from here, we take the left hand to the right knee, and then we take the right hand, and if you're in just plain old foot against the inside of the thigh, you just take the right hand to the outside of the left thigh. In my case, grabbing the abundances there. If you are in half lotus, you take the right hand to the right toes behind your back. And now we turn and look all the way over the right shoulder. So maybe you're looking behind us. And then from here, keeping the shoulders where they are, look over your left shoulder. So it's a twist and a counter twist together in one very graceful mermaid-looking mermaid pose. So really what we're focusing on here is taking the shoulders to the right as the head comes to the left. If you're here and you want a little neck stretch, you can lift and lower the chin like you're nodding over your shoulder. Yes, I am that beautiful mermaid that you've read all the legends about. It's that kind of subtle nod. You can even take the eyes all the way to the left here if you like. Don't forget to breathe. And then when you're ready to transition out of this, we'll unwind the arms, take them behind us, unwind the legs, put them in front of us. I meant to post a picture of this because I saw this recently, but we'll come into mud flat girl. Oh, look how cute that is. What a world. You can let the knees rock side to side. Two mud flat girls in a purple room here. So hands are behind us, just supporting the body. Knees are rocking side to side, loosening up any tension in the hips. Oh, look at that. That's too funny. You want to teach Janushasan on the other side?
Yeah, so this time we're going to keep the right leg out, and we're going to bend the left leg so the left foot comes to the inside of the right thigh. Turn the upper body so you're facing that, so it's just a slight turn, so you're facing over that right leg. And then we're going to fold towards that right leg. If you have a strap, go for it. We're going to inhale, arms up overhead. We're gonna exhale and fold. If you got the strap, take it around the ball of the foot.
And if you're using a strap, again, remember, bend the elbows to draw yourself forward. One thing that I forgot to mention on the other side, but it is helpful for this posture, it's a subtle sort of energetic movement. You want to kind of bring that extended legs hip back as you bring the bent legs hip forward. So basically my right hip is kind of moving back as I lean forward over it, and my left hip is coming forward just a little bit here. Almost like a sort of torquing, twisting motion, even though there's no real twist in it. Bending through the right knee if you need it, ever so slightly. Maybe you need it to help you kiss your knee ever so lovingly. And then when you're ready, we'll come back up for mermaid on this side. So, same thing, just the other side. We'll bend that right knee, bring the sole of the right foot to the mat, and then take that right foot behind your right hip, bringing the right knee forward like this. So from the side, like that. It's like I'm sitting back on my foot, even though the foot is outside of the right hip here. Then from here, it's up to you. You can either keep the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right thigh, or you can take that left foot into half lotus. We're gonna take the right hand to the left knee. We're gonna take the left hand to either the outside of the right hip or grabbing the big toe of the left foot for a mermaid. And then look all the way over to your left, taking the shoulders to your left as much as possible, so it's a twist through the upper body here. And then, once you twist as far to the left as you can, look over your right shoulder austerely. Not really, just look over your right shoulder. You don't have to be austere about it. And then if you want to nod your head ever so slightly, yes. I'm not austere, I'm just a mermaid. All the while keeping the shoulders twisting to the left as the head twists to the right. So you might feel this is a long stretch on the left side of the neck. When you're ready to get out of this, we'll unwind. Place the hands behind you, unwind the legs. Mud flap girl one more time. So hands are behind my hips, supporting me. And I'll let the knees rock from side. Oh, here. I'll let the knees rock from side to side. You teach pound angle or turtle or both.
Sure.
Thank you.
So coming back to center, we're going to come into bound angle first. So we're going to bring the feet together. Let the knees open wide. If you like to, you can have a couple of blocks supporting under the knees if that's something you want.
10.
Hmm?
10.
And then we're going to, again, sit up nice and tall here. Try to have a nice, long, straight spine. Now, sometimes in our efforts to sit up nice and tall, we end up sort of curving the spine, like almost sticking the butt out.
Yeah, that
So
happens
always
to me.
have a nice, one way to get a nice tall spine is always feel like you're slightly tucking that tailbone. It might feel a little weird in this particular position to tuck the tailbone, but it's like, it's also like a slight rounding of the low back.
And it's also a slight lifting of those abdominal muscles that we triggered at the beginning of class. So if you remember those old friends, feel free to lift through the abdomen.
And then with this nice tall spine, we're gonna just fold from the middle again. Try to keep your back straight. Also, if you want to grab at the feet, you can. Some people like to grab the feet and sort of open them up like they're opening a book. It feels kind of weird for me to do that on this hard floor.
Ooh, yeah.
So if I had my
That's where
feet
you
on,
put like a blanket.
yes, I need like something soft.
Or a sweater slash
But I don't have it.
strap.
So I'm not gonna do that, but I am gonna fold forward. And just come down as far as is comfortable for you.
We're gonna take our time here before we get into final relaxation. So feel free to really milk it.
Yeah, sometimes people like to come down sort of side to side as you come down. I've heard it described as a leaf falling down in the fall. So-
We were described by the person practicing next to you.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, there you
As a
go.
leaf.
I knew it was somebody. I
Thank
knew.
you for using my crappy metaphor.
I thought it was pretty good. Or I wouldn't have used it.
Oh, thank you.
So
I have another for you.
just have
Next week's class.
bad metaphor you.
Ooh, that's gonna be a fun one. Floating down like a piece of paper thrown out the top story of a building.
And then we'll slowly, you can start to come back.
Wait, I just got here.
Oh, well, then keep hanging out there. I don't care.
All right. I got my fill.
Okay. And then where are we going from here?
From here,
Sure.
we'll come back up, and it's up to you. You can either grab any other postures you need before Shavasana, or you can join us in turtle. So turtle is very similar to bound angle, except with turtle, I'm actually going to slide my feet out so that they are in a diamond shape. So it's like two right angles at my knees here. So in other words, my right thigh is parallel to my left shin. So a much more open bound angle posture. And from here, the final pose of turtle looks kind of like a turtle. It's not really, I'm not there yet, but you can use your imagination, or Brian can show you some deeper movement of this.
So you can take your
You bring your knees up.
knees up slightly, and you're going to take the hands down.
You take the hands and the forearms in between the legs and slide the forearms under the calves.
And
Then you let the knees come down over them.
And then some people that are super flexible can actually take the arms behind them, like this.
Yes, that's why I say watch Brian. He can actually do that stuff.
And maybe you can even grab your fingers. The fingers can touch each other, although mine
You're almost there.
don't touch.
Do you want to assist? Looks like you can grab your butt cheeks
I'm
too.
just grabbing my butt cheeks
That's
instead.
another option as well. But if you're a mere mortal like me, then you just keep your hands forward, kind of framing your feet. And if it feels comfortable, you can bring your head forward. You might even bring it all the way down to the arches of the feet. If that seems like something that a mere mortal cannot achieve, that's fine. You can put a block in between the feet and rest the head on the block too. That's another option. So we're just rounding over in the turtle. The important thing here is it's easy to let the spine get kind of crunched up in the middle of the belly here. So you could even push down on your hands a bit to walk the hips back and then lengthen through the spine as you fold forward. Because the idea is to keep the spine long.
And when you're ready, we'll just slowly roll out of it, coming up.
So lifting the knees, sliding the arms back. Again, we'll bring the knees up together. Hands behind one last time. Release the hips, letting the knees rock side to side. What? You want me to say mud flap girl again? Oh, well, you were laughing about that.
No, I was laughing about something else.
Oh, laughing about a joke he heard on Herman's head. All right, so when you're ready, we'll come to our mats. If you want to grab a happy baby or a spinal twist or any of that stuff, great. Otherwise, take one foot out to one edge of the mat, the other foot out to the other edge of the mat, and we'll just gently roll back into Shavasana. Palms face up, hands resting about a foot or so away from each hip. Tuck the chin ever so slightly to keep the upper spine or the neck long. Tuck the tail ever so slightly to keep the lower spine long. And then lift through the heart. Tuck the shoulder blades ever so slightly. And then let the heart rest back down on the mat. And just let the breathing become natural, effortless, unfocused, soft.
and smooth. Allowing the beneficial effects of this somewhat stimulating practice to really soak in. When you're ready, if you're ready, take a deep inhale and bringing yourself back to your breathing. Feeling your ribs expand, belly is rising, exhaling, feeling everything fall back towards the ground. You can wiggle through the fingers and toes a little bit, bringing some life to the extremities. And you can stretch your arms long above your head, stretch your legs together, stretching long, long, long. Inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. You could even sigh on your exhale if you like. And then bending both knees. Feel free to roll off to one side or the other, resting in a fetal position for just a second longer. Then you can press down on one hand and then the other to bring yourself back up to a comfortable seated position. Doesn't matter what, as long as the spine is nice and long. When you're here, we'll inhale the arms out wide and out, maybe leaning forward a little for prana mudra. Exhale, push the hands down in front of you, possibly leaning back. One more time. Inhaling, sweeping up. Exhaling, pushing back down. This last time, we'll inhale the arms out wide and up. Draw the palms together. Exhale, palms to the chest center. If you want to join us in an Om, you're more than welcome. Inhaling deeply. The light in these seas and others, the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with us. We'll be back next week, possibly with an episode of Crappy Metaphor Yoga.